Welcome, the spicy ladies. What does it truly mean to overcome? It is not just about surviving the hardest moments, but about rising from them with a strength that cannot be explained. For Sigma females, this is not a story of fitting into expectations, but a story of rewriting life on your own terms. Your miracle is not something you waited for in the distance. It is the fact that you are here, still standing, still unbroken, still breathing life into a world that once tried to silence you. Every challenge you faced became a hidden teacher. Every disappointment carved out a deeper layer of wisdom inside you. While others may have doubted you or tried to shame you, you turned that weight into the very foundation of your resilience. You have walked through pain that many could not endure, yet you carry it with quiet grace. That is the essence of your victory. Your miracle is not a sudden event. It is the slow, steady transformation that has been happening all along. It is the courage you showed when no one was watching. It is the way you chose peace over chaos. It is the fire you kept alive within yourself when the world grew cold. Today, let this be your reminder. You are not just surviving. You are thriving. You are not waiting for permission. You have already claimed your space. Your miracle is here because you overcame it, and nothing can take that away. Let's dive into it. Number 1. You carried storms inside you, but never let them define your horizon. That alone is a rare kind of strength. Everyone goes through seasons where life feels heavy, where disappointment lingers longer than expected, and where pain feels louder than hope. But what sets you apart is that you refuse to let those storms become your identity. You felt the weight, yes, but you never allowed it to decide how far you could see or how far you could go. Think about it this way. A storm can be terrifying when you are caught in it. The thunder, the darkness, the pouring rain, all of it makes you feel like the sun will never return. But storms are temporary. They pass. The horizon always stretches beyond them, waiting to be seen again. You understood this truth. Instead of focusing only on the rain, you lifted your eyes and kept looking toward what was still possible. This is what makes your journey so powerful. You did not deny your storms. You faced them, you lived through them, and you let them teach you. Pain taught you patience. Betrayal taught you discernment. Loss taught you the value of presence. Every hardship left you with a lesson that no book could have given. You became living proof that hardship does not have the final word. For example, when others allowed rejection to make them bitter, you turned rejection into redirection. Where some allowed failure to paralyze them, you treated failure as rehearsal for something greater. When shame tried to cling to you, you walked forward until it fell away, unable to keep up with your pace. So here you are, carrying storms in your story, yet refusing to let them block your horizon. That is not just survival. That is transformation. And anyone who looks at your journey can see it. You are not standing in the ruins. You are standing on higher ground. Proof that the storm was never bigger than your horizon. Right now, if you are still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. Number 2. Every scar became a secret code that only you could translate into strength. Think about that for a moment. Scars are not always physical. Some live deep inside, hidden behind a smile or tucked away in silence. They come from broken trust. From nights you cried yourself to sleep, from moments you thought you would never recover. Yet instead of letting those scars turn into chains, you choose to read them differently. You treated them like secret messages carved into your story, lessons that only you could understand. Take rejection, for example. To most people, it feels like proof that they are not good enough. But you learned to see rejection as redirection. That scar carried a message. This was not for you. But something greater is waiting. Or think about failure. Instead of stamping you with shame, it whispered a reminder. This is how you practice. This is how you sharpen your skill. Pain that others ran from became your training ground. You see, scars never lie. They always remind you where you have been, but they do not dictate where you can go. The difference is in how you choose to read them. You could have allowed them to keep you bitter, but you refused. You read the code, and you discovered strength where others only saw weakness. It is the same way athletes use old injuries to train smarter. A runner who once tore a muscle learns to listen to their body, to stretch better, to protect their strength for the long run. You did the same with life. Every scar fine-tuned you. Every scar refined your vision. Every scar forced you to grow stronger roots so the storm could not uproot you again. So now when people look at you, they may only see the surface. They may not notice the codes written across your journey. But you know you carry the translations within you. You understand the wisdom that came at a price. And that is what makes you unstoppable. Number 3. You stopped waiting for rescue because you realized you were your own savior. That truth is not easy to reach. Many people spend their lives waiting for someone else to fix what is broken, to provide answers, or to carry them out of struggle. But you discovered that no one was coming with a magic key. No one was going to fight your battles for you. And instead of sinking into despair, you decided to rise. Think of how many times in life we sit and wait. A student waits for someone to notice their potential. A worker waits for a promotion that never comes. A friend waits for someone to finally apologize. Waiting often feels safe because it postpones action. But the longer you wait, the more you give away your power. You refuse to do that. You took the difficult step of facing your reflection and saying, if I do not act, nothing will change. This shift changes everything. When you stop waiting for rescue, you stop giving others control over your story. You stop expecting the world to hand you what you are capable of creating. You begin to build your own bridge instead of hoping someone will send you one. That is the moment you discovered true freedom. Imagine someone trapped in a dark room. They wait, hoping footsteps will come, hoping a door will open. But the real breakthrough happens when they realize their own hands can find the lock. Their own strength can push the door. That was your awakening. Your strength did not come from a savior outside of you. It came from the quiet courage within you. The courage to face what was hard and to keep moving anyway. That is why you overcame it. That is why you are here today. Stronger, freer, and unshaken. Spicy ladies, thank you for watching to here. I appreciate it. If you have same feeling, leave the spicy lady +1 comment below. That's my motivation. Let's continue. Number 4. What was meant to crush you became the very ground you now stand on. Life has a way of throwing weight at you that feels unbearable. People doubting you, circumstances closing in, failure stacking one after another. It all feels like it was designed to bury you. And for a moment, it almost did. But instead of staying underweight, you transformed it. You pressed against it until it became the very platform that lifted you higher. Think of how concrete is formed. It begins as loose, messy material, but when pressure is applied, it hardens into a foundation strong enough to build on. That is what happened with you. The pressure that was meant to break, you only solidified your resolve. When betrayal came, instead of letting it bury your trust forever, you built wisdom from it. When failure tries to suffocate you, you take its weight and turn it into discipline. When loss threatened to hollow you out, you planted seeds of gratitude in the empty space. Every crushing moment became construction material for the person you are today. Picture a diamond. It does not become what it is without immense pressure. The same force that could destroy a weaker stone is the very force that reveals its brilliance. You became that diamond. Every trial pushed you, shaped you, refined you until you were no longer fragile, but unshakable. Now you stand tall on ground that once threatened to bury you. The pain you carried became strength under your feet. The obstacles you faced became stepping stones. And the crushing weight that was meant to silence you became the solid ground that announces your resilience. You are not standing in ruins. You are standing on your own foundation. And that foundation was built from everything that tried and failed to destroy you. Number 5. You understand that survival is not just breathing, but choosing how to live. Breathing keeps the body alive, but it does not guarantee that the soul is alive. Too many people move through their days on autopilot. They wake up, go through routines, and fall asleep without ever questioning if they are truly living. You chose a different path. You realized that survival alone is not enough. You wanted a life that carried meaning, purpose, and direction. Think of someone lost at sea. Floating keeps them alive for a while, but unless they learn to swim toward the shore, they will remain stuck. That is the difference between existing and living. You refuse to stay stuck. You made choices that pushed you closer to the life you wanted, even when they were uncomfortable. Living is in the little decisions as much as the big ones. Choosing peace instead of repeating cycles of conflict is living. Choosing growth instead of clinging to old excuses is living. Choosing to let go of what drains you and protect what fuels you is living. Each decision became proof that you were not content with just surviving. You learned that every day is a stage where you either repeat yesterday or create something new. Some people see their scars and decide to stay in the shadow of what hurt them. You saw yours and used them as reasons to step into the light. That is not passive survival. That is conscious living. It is like planting a garden in rocky soil. Survival means the plant stays alive despite the harsh ground. Living means it still finds a way to bloom, bringing color and fragrance where no one expected it. You became that bloom. You proved that even when life tried to limit you, you could still choose how to rise. And that choice, the choice to live fully, is what sets you apart. You did not just survive. You created a life that carries weight, depth, and beauty. That is the power of your journey. Number 6. You realize forgiveness was never about others, but about releasing your own chains. That understanding separates you from so many who carry pain like luggage they cannot put down. At first, forgiveness feels impossible. The mind replays the betrayal, the words spoken, the moment stolen. The anger feels justified, even comforting, like armor. But over time, that armor becomes a prison. You are the one who feels the weight. You are the one who keeps drinking the poison while expecting the other person to feel it. You chose differently. You saw that forgiveness was not about excusing what was done or pretending it did not hurt. It was about deciding that you would no longer carry the burden. You refused to let someone else's actions have permanent power over your peace. That was the moment you stopped being chained to the past. Think about carrying a heavy backpack everywhere you go. At first, you believe you need it. You think it protects you, but after a while, it slows you down. Every step feels harder. Forgiveness is like taking that backpack off. The weight does not belong to you anymore. And once you set it down, you discover how much further you can walk. This is why your strength stands out. You forgave not because the other person deserved it, but because you deserved peace. You understood that forgiveness is freedom. It is reclaiming your energy for things that actually matter. It is choosing to live in the present instead of replaying the same wound. Now, when you move forward, you do so lighter, stronger, and untangled. You are no longer controlled by anger or bitterness. You gave yourself permission to heal. That is what makes your story powerful. You did not wait for an apology. You gave yourself release. And in that release, you found your miracle. Number 7. Where others broke under silence, you found silence to be your weapon. Most people fear silence. They see it as emptiness, as loneliness, as something that exposes what they are running from. For many, silence is unbearable because it forces them to face their own thoughts. But you treated silence differently. You turn it into a tool, a place where clarity is born and strength is sharpened. Think about how noise surrounds us every day. Notifications, conversations, demands, opinions, endless distractions. In all that noise, it is easy to lose yourself, to forget your own voice. Silence gave you the chance to hear it again. Instead of crumbling in the absence of sound, you discovered that silence is not emptiness at all. It is space. It is the ground where wisdom grows. For example, when others rush to respond in anger, you chose silence and gave yourself time to think. That silence saved you from regret. When confusion clouded your path, silence allowed you to listen to your intuition instead of drowning in outside noise. When pain came, silence gave you room to process it without the world watching. You did not collapse in those quiet moments. You built yourself there. It is like sharpening a blade. The blade does not need constant noise or movement. It requires stillness and focus. Your silence worked the same way. It refined you. It made your words heavier because you only spoke when it mattered. It made your actions stronger because they were rooted in thought, not impulse. So while others broke under silence, you stood taller because of it. You found out that silence is not a weakness, but a weapon. It is the calm before your breakthroughs, the shield that protects your peace, and the space where your true power awakens. Number 8. You turned every no into a foundation stone for your yes. That alone tells the story of why you are unshaken today. Most people hear no and stop. They take it as rejection, as proof that they are not enough, or as a signal to give up. But you decided that every no would serve as a building block. Instead of seeing it as a closed door, you treated it as raw material to create your own path. Think of it like a builder gathering stones. Some stones are heavy, some rough, some awkward in shape. Alone, they look useless. But when placed with vision and patience, they form the very foundation of something lasting. Every no you faced was one of those stones. Each one added strength to the structure of your journey. For instance, when opportunities slipped away, you learned to craft your own. When people doubted your abilities, you used their doubts as a drive to sharpen your skills. When life told you no through setbacks or failures, you treated those moments as training rather than defeat. That is how you turn rejection into redirection. Imagine someone applying for their dream role and hearing no over and over. Most would quit, but you are the kind who studies every no, adjusts, grows, and keeps going until the yes comes. And even more, you built a life where you no longer wait for permission. You built doors where none existed. This mindset gave you resilience that cannot be shaken by temporary setbacks. You are not defined by the closed doors behind you, but by the doors you created in front of you. Every no was fuel. Every no was preparation. Every no became proof that you were meant to rise higher. And now your yes is not fragile. It is unshakable, built on the foundation of every single rejection that tried and failed to break you. That is the power of your journey. Number 9. You learn to walk through fire and come out with light in your eyes. Fire has two sides. It can destroy, but it can also refine. Many people fear it because all they see is the pain, the heat, the possibility of loss. But you stepped into it and discovered something different. You realized that fire does not only burn, it also purifies. It strips away what is weak and leaves only what is strong. Think about how gold is refined. It is placed into fire and the heat melts away everything that is not pure. What comes out on the other side is brighter, stronger, and more valuable than before. That is exactly what happened with you. The fire you faced was not physical flames, but the trials of betrayal, heartbreak, setbacks, and disappointments. Where others saw only destruction, you allowed the fire to shape you into someone unshakable. You carried yourself through moments when you thought you could not take another step. You endured nights when sleep would not come because your mind was heavy with worry. You faced times when the future looked dim. And yet instead of letting those flames consume you, you walked forward. That is why there is light in your eyes. Now it is not just brightness. It is the reflection of every battle you survived. Every pain you refused to let define you. Picture someone walking barefoot across burning coals. Most would stop halfway, but you kept moving. Every step burned, but every step brought you closer to the other side. And once you reached it, you realized that the fire no longer scared you. It became proof of your resilience. Now, when people look into your eyes, they see the glow of someone who has endured the heat and transformed because of it. That light cannot be faked. It is the mark of a soul that has been through fire and refused to be destroyed. Number 10. You prove that miracles are not sudden events, but the slow rebirth of a soul that refused to quit. People often picture miracles as flashes of light, overnight breakthroughs, or dramatic changes that happen without warning. But your journey shows a deeper truth. The real miracle is not in a single moment, but in the steady, quiet process of refusing to give up even when it would have been easier to stop. Think about how a seed becomes a tree. It does not sprout into strength in a day. First, it breaks in the dark, unseen under the soil, fighting to push upward against the weight of earth. That hidden struggle is what prepares it to reach the light. Your growth has been the same. What looked invisible to others, the battles fought in silence, the nights of persistence, the small choices you made every day, all became the soil where your miracle grew. It was in the times you chose to rise after falling. It was in the moments you decided to keep moving when your strength was almost gone. It was in the decision to believe in tomorrow when today felt unbearable. Each choice became a piece of your miracle, not loud or sudden, but steady and undeniable. Imagine someone climbing a mountain. To those at the bottom, the miracle is when they finally reach the peak. But the truth is a miracle was happening step by step, breath by breath, in the determination not to turn back. That is your story. Your miracle is not fragile because it was not built in a single instant. It was forged slowly in fire and patience, in silence and resilience. And that is why it shines so brightly. Now you are living proof that miracles are not accidents. They are the natural result of a soul that refuses to quit. Number 11. You refused to let shame become your shadow and instead made dignity your shield. Shame is a heavy weight. It creeps in quietly, whispering that you are not enough, that your mistakes define you, that your wounds make you unworthy. For many people, shame lingers like a shadow that follows them everywhere they go. It bends their shoulders, silences their voices, and convinces them to hide. But you made a different choice. You refused to let shame trail behind you. You chose dignity and you carried it like armor. Shame tries to trap people in the past. It says, remember when you failed. Remember when you were rejected. Remember when you were broken. Dignity, on the other hand, lifts you into the present. It reminds you that mistakes are lessons, not life sentences. It tells you that your worth is not negotiable, no matter what you have been through. Think about someone walking with their head lowered because they cannot let go of what others think of them. That posture keeps them stuck. Now picture someone else who lifts their head not because life has been perfect, but because they have chosen dignity over shame. That is you. You walk with the quiet assurance that your scars do not erase your value. Every time shame tried to pull you back, you put dignity in front of you. When people tried to remind you of your lowest moments, you reminded yourself that those moments built your strength. When life tried to make you feel small, you stood firm and said, I am more than what I survived. Dignity became your shield. It protected your peace. It guarded your spirit. And it gave you the courage to keep moving forward. And that choice, that refusal to be chained by shame, is what turned your journey into victory. You are not hidden by shadows. You are carried by light. Number 12. You prove that miracles are not sudden events, but the slow rebirth of a soul that refused to quit. In final words, what do you see when you look at yourself now compared to who you once were? This is the question that holds the power of your journey. You have walked through storms, carried scars, faced silence, and turned rejection into stepping stones. You have discovered that the miracle was never waiting on the horizon. It was being shaped in you every single time you refused to quit. Overcoming is not just about surviving what happened to you. It is about creating meaning out of the very things that tried to break you. It is about walking through fire and finding light in your eyes instead of ashes on your spirit. It is about carrying your past with grace until it no longer weighs you down, but instead speaks of your victory. The truth is, you are proof that miracles are not always loud or sudden. They are often quiet, unfolding in the daily choices to rise, to forgive, to keep moving, to live fully. That is your miracle. That is why you overcame. So as you stand here today, let this be your reminder. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not broken beyond repair. Every challenge you faced has already been turned into strength under your feet. Your miracle is here because you refuse to let anything stop you. Keep moving forward with that same courage. Keep building a life that reflects who you truly are. You have already overcome, and your best chapters are still waiting to be written. Thank you for watching, Spicy Ladies, and God bless you.